Good morning. It is the start of day 3, and this is my day 2 build update for my Armour Break Witch Hunter. I am level 86, and we have reached tier 15 maps. No pinnacle content yet. Yesterday I was playing around a lot with the build, trying to figure out how to go pure crossbow, no grenades, and I think I found one that works. So I'm going to log in and take you through where I am with the build, the skills I'm using, how I'm building defenses, thoughts on the ascendancy, my gear, and then some thoughts on the endgame, and then the plan for today and tomorrow. I have 2 more days before I have to go back to work, so I'm going to grind. Let's go through it. I tried many things yesterday trying to get crossbows to work. Obviously, first thing I tried was grenade and crossbow weapon swap, and it is bugged. You still cannot use +1 cooldown use, cooldown recovery rate in your weapon swap passive points. As soon as you switch to your ammunition, you lose the extra cooldown use on your grenades, which obviously is not ideal. There is also the bug that when you swap, even if you're using a single weapon, so I'm just using 1 crossbow, I don't have anything in the second weapon swap, sometimes you won't be able to fire your crossbow anymore. It won't switch back automatically. It still creates 2 crossbows. It just creates a second virtual crossbow when you lock your weapon swap, and it's just not working. So it makes me not want to try the 100 weapon swap passive points on Witch Hunter until they fix that. It's just not very appealing. I want to use crossbows plus something else, and they are really bugged. Otherwise though, crossbows feel pretty good. I think they've improved the behavior in other ways. So one of the things that used to happen was if you switch into an empty clip, you would have quite a long delay before the ammunition got loaded. That's no longer the case. It feels a lot quicker, a lot better. I tried many things after that, trying to get pure crossbows to work. I tried incendiary shot, but it hit like a wet noodle. Couldn't figure out how to get ignites happening quickly. I tried siege cascade, but siege cascade does not hit enemies when you cannot pin them. I'm sure maybe there's a way with Tactician. Then I tried explosive shot, and explosive shot is still really good. I have settled on explosive shot. I was using it for a bit with explosive grenades anyway, and then I wanted to see if I could stop using grenades completely so I could spec out of all of the points. I couldn't use my weapon swap passives on them anyway, and explosive shot is really good. And I'm also using armor piercing rounds. I still have incendiary shot slotted just for having some more spaces for skill gems, because I have the passive point that gives me +5% life, mana and movement speed, considering getting immunity to ignite, but it's 4 points and I have other defensive priorities before I take that. I'm still optimizing the tree. I tend to swap between armor piercing rounds and explosive shot for clear, just because they both feel pretty good. Armor piercing rounds has armor explosion, Uruk's smelting, which is quite cheap, elemental armament because it scales the explosion itself, which is converted to fire, and long shot because I tend to be quite far away when I'm firing my armor piercing rounds, and I wanted the generic attack damage scaling so that it also scales the armor explosion. Then explosive shot is elemental armament, Argent's medal for quick reloads, fire attunement for some extra fire damage, and multi-shot, and you get lots of explosions, and the 3 projectiles do fire in different directions. So let's say, there's a couple of mobs to your left and a couple of mobs to your right.
Reload.
It'll fire them, in a line, but it'll also fire them at mobs. And then for single target, I have found a perfect jeweler's orb, so I put it in HVR. So I have prolonged duration for more skill effect duration of the debuff, the Riven debuff. Brutality, because Riven scales off of physical damage only. Heft for more max physical damage. Hourglass, because I'm only casting it every so often and then consuming it with fragmentation rounds. And then close combat, because I tend to be quite close to the bosses when I'm firing it. And then frag rounds, so again close combat, double barrel, rapid attacks, nimble reload, so I can get as many shots off as possible. Lineage support wise, I am considering Rigwald's ferocity for frag rounds would be more attack speed. The less damage doesn't matter as much because a lot of the damage is coming from the Riven debuff. These are a div on the market at the moment. Then for explosive shot, I am considering Rakiata's because it does pure fire damage. There's 8 div for a bit faster clear. And then also maybe Ratha's Assault for explosive shot instead of Argent's Medal. I'm dodging a lot. You know, there's a lot of effects to dodge, especially with Abyss, and just having more bolts loaded might be good there. Maybe Wratha's Assault and Argent's Medal stack. Plan is to get my gem levels up, get 6 slots for all of my main skills. In terms of Spirit Auras, I'm just using Wind Dancer with Maim, Blind, and Magnified Area, and Scavenge Plating with Prolonged Duration, Cannibalism, and Vitality. I have a neck with 45 Spirit on it. I also sometimes use Infernal Cry when I remember, with Tireless and Raging Cry. Things move pretty fast. It doesn't often feel like I have time to get off a Raging Cry without dying. It's easier to just kill the pack. I'll post like a video of a map and some pinnacle content after today. It's not the fastest build in the world. I did a 50% Delirious tier 15 map, and I've done my first boss as well with a 6-mod map. I am having a bit of trouble finding corrupted zones. I only found the 3 that were near the starting area. I cannot find any more. I have travelled reasonably far from the start. They've removed the glow that appears in the fog to show you where corrupted zones are, and I can't see any on any of the towers. Another thing in this build that's quite interesting is that explosive shot consumes fully broken armor. I don't know why. Nothing in the description tells me why it's consuming a fully broken armor. I don't know if it does more damage. I don't know why it's happening. I think it's just a bug. Defense wise, I have started heading towards Deflect. I think Deflect is going to be the best chance I have for surviving. I'm surviving okay. You know, the maps are challenging. Abyss is particularly challenging. It does a lot of damage, especially the floor degens deal enormous amounts of damage. There's also the runes that appear on the floor, which do quite a lot of damage. It's just quite overtuned, I think, especially for a life class. So I think having Deflect is going to help a lot more than having armor applies to elemental damage. At the moment, I'm sat at 40% evasion rating and 21% chance to deflect. It feels okay. It could be better. I have invested a bit into my chest. I still need to update, you know, defense-wise, my boots, gloves, helm. I think they can all be better. I can probably get some more evasion on my ring. Ascendancy-wise, I think any other ascendancy except Witch Hunter would be better for this. I'm considering rolling a Warbringer. Once I've pushed this as far as I think I can take it, you know, because I'm a glutton for punishment, then I will roll a Warbringer, I think. And I think it's going to be a lot better. It has access to easier armor break. It has access to no cooldown war cries without needing charges. It has access to Encased in Jade for more defenses. I'm going to test out Sorcery Ward. Maybe that'll make me feel immortal. Once I get my 4th Ascendancy point, I can do Sorcery Ward, Culling Strike, and Zealous Inquisition, I think, for clearing. And then maybe Decimating Strike or Concentrate, or switch into Concentration for bossing. Culling Strike, I think, is pretty good, and I took the Threshold node down here. Gear-wise, I have invested about 10 div into this character. So my chest was 3 div, very high evasion rating, and a couple of resistances and some dexterity, which I needed. I needed the dexterity itself to use the chest. I'm a bit attribute starved. This Rizlatha's Coil is worth 2 div. I got the minimum less roll and as close to the maximum more roll, and then a top life roll and 2 charm slots. The weapon I was using before this was 2 div. It's a mixed fizz and fire weapon, about 650 DPS with +3 proj. This was doing fine. I haven't actually used the new weapon I just bought yet. It is this one. I picked this up for 6 div. It is a 750 fizz DPS crossbow with +4 proj and an open prefix. So this could roll into a 20, 30, 60 div weapon. If it hits hybrid accuracy and fizz damage, that would be the best possible roll. The next best roll would be added fire damage, increase my DPS anywhere from 850 total DPS to 1000. Another good roll would be elemental damage with attacks, which would help my clear speed but not really help my bossing. The other 2 elements would add a little bit of DPS but not a huge amount, and then a bricked mod would just be pure accuracy. That's the only bad result. So not really many bad results, and if I hit one of the cold or lightning mods, then it's still like a really good crossbow, just not as good for my build. So I could sell it, or I could try another build later. I haven't slammed it yet. I'm not sure how much I want to invest in the slam, whether I want to wait for a 2-div perfect Exalted Orb or hit it with this greater Exalted Orb. The difference isn't massive, but it reduces the pool enough. The suffixes are pretty good: mana, attack speed, project skills. I was also looking at the Omen of Sinistral Crystallization, which guarantees that the next perfect essence will remove only suffix modifiers. And then there's Perfect Essence of Battle, which is half a div, which can roll +6 to all attack skills. Now, if I use the Omen and the Perfect Essence of Battle, surely it must hit the plus skills, +4 to +6. That would make this crossbow very, very, very good. I also bought this without runes in it. I think it was fairly priced for how powerful it is and the potential it has. Those are my 3 main investments. Took all of my resources to get the 6 div I needed for the crossbow when I found it. I wouldn't recommend switching to the pure crossbow until you have a good crossbow like the one I had before. Like a 600 DPS crossbow feels fine. You know, I'm trying to rush through the end game, but that felt okay. And then before that I was using my crossbow from campaign that was like 300 DPS. It's not going to feel good until you have really high fizz or high fizz fire. And then my thoughts on the end game. So like I said, Abyss feels okay. It's quite challenging. Some of the effects feel a bit overtuned. Ground effects in particular feel very overtuned. Otherwise, you know, it's tons of extra mobs, tons of extra currency. I've found crafting with currency to be quite fun. Slamming with even greater orbs feels quite good. So if you're finding loot on the ground, hitting it with you know, a greater transmutation, a greater augmentation, and then even like a greater essence, you're going to end up with a pretty good item a lot of the time. I made a few div crafting, like random. I crafted this random chest which sold for a div. So it's been like funding my build. I'm no fub gun. I'm not making 30 div an hour, but I'm making enough to progress my build and progress through the end game. Plan today: keep optimizing the build, maybe optimize the tree a bit more, fill out my atlas, hopefully find the corrupted areas, start doing pinnacle content, get my 4th ascendancy, which I should easily be able to do now, and then make some money. Start farming, maybe try and get a headhunter for clearing, and then just have Rizlathas for bossing. If you want to come and hang out, see the build in action, come hang out on my stream, Twitch TV Read More Book, or here on YouTube, and I will hopefully be able to post a build guide and some mapping examples soon. Alright, good luck.